Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. In this opportunity, I want to deliver my speech about the hidden sides of early childhood go to school. First of all, I want to say thank you to the God because of His blessing. Today we can meet here without any obstacles. Ladies and gentlemen, nowadays education is developing in rapidly in the world. It also happened in our country. Every person wants to get high and best educations in their life for better future. Especially for parents want to their children get best educations and they're entering their children go to school too early. It sounds good, but did you know what the hidden sides of it? It's more dangerous than we know. So because of that, I am Kadek Mela Padma from English Education Study Programs that semester of Wuhan University. Want to deliver my speech about the hidden sides of childhood educations. It will interesting and open your eyes about how hidden sides of childhood education itself. Ladies and gentlemen, as we know, nowadays most of people want to enter their kids go to school earlier in order to get the good educations earlier, and they think what they do is good for their kids and make them become clever. Nowadays, many parents only think the good sides of it without think more about what are the hidden sides of it. In fact, there are so many the hidden sides of it, and it's very become serious problem for the kids in the future, and parents should pay attention about it before entering their kids to school earlier. So in this opportunity, I will share to you some the hidden sides of kids go to school earlier, such as the first one is the quality of children's learning. When we talk about the quality of children's learning in early childhoods, it's very interesting to talk because in early childhood education is the root of education for children's continue their study to next level. In other hand, some cases that I read and I know from my environments, the quality of children learning is low for some kids because they don't focus while they study. They are not ready yet for learnings in the formal way, or we call it school. That's why it gives impact the quality of children's learning. Although there are some children is ready for learnings in school and give good impact of the quality of learning, but it's only for few kids. Most of kids is not ready yet for studying, and sure that make the quality of learning also bad, like they cry when studying and they can't comprehend what teacher tells or asks to them do and the others. So based on that cases, I say that the quality of learning in childhood for some kids is not satisfied, and it needs more attention for parents who want to enter their kids to school too early to rethink again, especially about their kids' ability for receiving knowledge or instructions that teacher will give to the kids. And the second one is problem with kids psychology. When children go to school too early will cause them stress. This is because indirectly children are forced to learn something that is not according to their abilities. So children should still be able to play with their peers, family members, but because of school demands are too early, they are forced to lack time play The conditions like this is dangerous because the children feel they get pressures when they school in continually for a long time. That children can get trigger stress. It will become serious problem for kids mentally in the future. And if the parents doesn't pay attention about it, it can make the children's depressions. And the most fatal thing that can make your kids do suicide. So if we don't want that will happen to our children, please pay attention with kids psychology, especially for childhood educations. And added to the worst thing about your kids psychology, like I said before, is not happen to your kids. So the third one is behavior problems of kids. There are so many things that can take effect for kids who go to school too early. One of those is behavior problems of kids. All this is related each other. If kids don't enthusiastic go to school, it also can cause behavior problems for kids. They feel uncomfortable while studying at school. They are easier being angry, crying, shouting, and the other. Sometimes there is a kid commonly, say a cheerful kid, happy to see a lot of people because she feels uncomfortable at schools with her friends and vibes of school. She becomes quiet and moody. She is easier angry and crying. So that is problem that kid is facing when they feel uncomfortable and not ready for studying because they still want to play at home than study at the school. So the next one is it's not make them enthusiasm but make kids bored. Usually, children feel enthusiasm or very excited when going to school. However, if children enter to school too early, it will make kids boredom for go to school and study at school definitely, and it will cause boredom. This feeling of boredom can also be causing by the feeling of children who change their erratically or it called moody. So in order to it will be harder to be motivated kids go to school. Toddlers age is not the most ideal time for children to go to school. In fact, as a toddler parents should focus on making them happy, children first, then kids can learn by playing with their family members at home. And the next one is there is a desire kids want to stop school. If the kids feel tired, bored, and afraid to go to school, it is not impossible if your kids has the desire to strike or quiet school. Moreover, not all children have high academics interests. It could be that your children have other interests such as in sport or in music. Instead, for parents, keep your children feel free to choose what they interest and what they want to. And as parents, must as a guide in order their talents can improve well. So actually, sending children too early go to schools doesn't have good impact if your children's ability is low. For this reason, send your children to school when they are right age so that they are better prepared. Those are the hidden sides of most of kids who got to school earlier are than other kids, but the most of parents don't aware about those. It's not only become serious problem for the kids itself, but also it can give effect for their parents and their family in facing their kids' problem. So let's be wise to your kids, because the good education itself is start from family first, not from school. So if your family has good communications and start to educate your kids in simple way, by something that you can do at home, like read the story for the kids, play together to train their mind, and for training their sensory and motory by simple activities. I think that's all is enough than you are entering your kids to school earlier. Let's be wise parents for our kids mentally and for their future. So I was interested in talking about children's educations. There are so many adorable stories about it. Today, in this opportunity, I would share to you about my experience about children's and education itself. Honestly, it didn't happen to me directly, but my nephew exactly. He was active and clever boy. So because of that, his parents decided to enter their son go to school too early than the other kids who have the same age like their kid. Actually, at that time, I agree about that decisions too. It will make him happy. So many other kids and their teacher get new vibes in the school. He would improve his communication skill by talking with his new friends and teacher too. For a few times, it worked well. But did you know what happened next? There are so many problems with him I saw. There are so many problems, such as he became moody, he didn't want to go to school anymore, he felt afraid went to school, he was not active like before, he easy to get angry, and etc. So, by this problem, the parents and I as family tried to know what happened with him, why he became unhappy and quiet after going to school. After we tried to get the information about him, actually based on new Harvard study, it explained that so here are so many hidden sides of students who early go to school. One of them, as I mentioned before, so there are many hidden sides of it, and it could be serious problem for the children, and it will give impact for their future. It could as traumatic for the kids and their age. They should happy without any pressure and play at home with family and their friends. Commonly, I only knew the good sides of children who go to school earlier without knowing some problems that it perhaps that got when they school. As parents, definitely they get want to best educations for the children by sending their children go to school earlier. In order to my nephew experience. In order to my nephew experience could not happen again to you, because it was difficult conditions to overcome his traumatic at school. We should pay attention about it, like what my nephew experienced. There are many things that his parents did to make him cheer up again like before. It also need much money for healing him. So by this hidden sides of that, I hope that all parents outside would be wise to send their children to school early. Other than what happened with my nephew is happening to your kids. So be wise and careful to decide it sending your children to school early. It looked good, but the hidden sides of it more dangerous than the nice sides that look like. Ladies and gentlemen, we agree that education is important for our kids. We will keep the best educations for the kids, but in this era, not only school is the best place for your kids to study, especially for childhood educations, but family is the best educations for kids first. That will feel more comfortable students with family vibes, so be wise for your kids' educations. Know your kids' ability. I also have some pictures that show you about the hidden sides of children who go to school earlier. Like they feel sleepy when they study at the school, they crying or shouting, and they feel bored when they study at the school. I also have two charts for you about children's go to school earlier. The first one is about the effect size, about the cognitions, behavior, schooling, and health. And the second one is about the interest of parents who entering their children go to schools every year is decreasing. Thank you. So I also have a short video about what is childhood mental illness. So happy watching.
Mental health is described as a young child's ability to experience, regulate and express their emotions, form close and secure relationships, explore their environment, and learn. They do this in the context of their family, community, and cultural experiences. Children who have difficulty managing their emotions, exploring their surroundings, and building positive relationships are more likely to experience greater challenges throughout their lives that may persist well into adulthood.
Early childhood mental health it's almost surprisingly important in the early years because it's a foundation for so much of what constitutes emotional health and social well-being thereafter. It's a really critical developmental period. So they're moving from the world of their very intimate social relationships within their families to a much wider world, and that's where it all starts.
The early years set children up for the rest of their life, and there are very key experiences that children need to have early on in order for the right connections, if you like, to develop, which lay the foundation for later functioning throughout childhood and into adulthood. And so the brain grows incredibly rapidly in the first few years and it's quite extraordinary how much is going on in the brain in the early years.
So how do you know when children, their families and early childhood educators are experiencing good mental health? I think it's a question often about participation. So when children are doing well in terms of their mental health, they're really engaged in the environment that they're learning.
Late go to school is better than early go to school and make them stressed. Remember, your kids' happiness is valuable and impact of mental illness of kids who early go to school is absolutely awful. So that's all about my speech. I hope that you can increase your knowledge and add your information about education for kids. And I do apologize that if I have made mistake or I say something that is not satisfied for you. So the last but not least, I say thank you so much for your attention. Thank you.